Man, coming up next, an interview with a total legend. In fact, he's the only surviving member of one of the most successful groups ever. It's on their biggest hit, a song that could be the most recognizable song of the 20th century. I've seen it in several polls. Let's see if you agree. So, this legend who wrote this classic, he knew it would be massive, but in the end, instead of keeping it for his own group, he gave it to a rival band. He even produced it for him. With the signature opening bass line of its time, coming up next, the story of a song that was so classic. One time this band was so tired of it, they decided not to play it in concert, and the audience came unglued. They almost killed him. The story's coming up next on Professor of Rock. Hey music junkies, Professor of Rock, always here to celebrate the greatest artists and the greatest songs of all time. You know, if you've ever quoted Airplane, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, or Fletch, you're going to want to subscribe to this channel so you don't miss an episode. Nostalgia all the time, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. Make sure to hit the red button to sub and check the bell so you are always in the know about our latest videos and interviews. Also, check out our latest series on Patreon and go backstage with the legends at our new live shows, our new live events. We also have entries into our merch just below, including this shirt. So it's time for another edition of our series, The New Standards. And this is a show that takes an in-depth look at songs that really set the bar in music history. It doesn't matter what decade, genre, or musical movement they might have come out of. These songs transcend all of that. They would have been hits in any era. They take us to that place that only a handful of other songs can take us. They're just quite simply magic. Now, in previous episodes, we've covered Mrs. Robinson by Simon and Garfunkel.
And here's to you, Mrs. Robinson, Jesus loves you.
Also, Hey Jude by the Beatles.
Hey Jude, don't make it bad.
But today, we're going to get the story of a #1 hit directly from the surviving member of the most successful R&B group in history, according to Billboard. Big Daddy Otis Williams of The Temptations, and the story of their 1965 #1 smash, My Girl. Now, this is a song that no matter your age or your background, you love it. It's an absolute classic of the canon of popular music. It's a contender for the greatest song to come from one of music's most storied and talented music labels, Motown. My Girl was actually written by Smokey Robinson and Ronald White. In the interview coming up, we're going to find out why Smokey Robinson didn't hold on to the song for himself and how The Temptations made it such a massive hit. I mean, it's in the Grammy Hall of Fame, it's in the Library of Congress, and it was The Temptations' first top 10 and #1 hit, and it really set the bar going forward for this magical group. In this interview, we celebrate not only this song, but The Temptations' 60th anniversary as a group. There's only a few artists that you can name on one hand that have lasted 60 years. We're going to talk about their new album as well. This is really a can't miss. Now, as we go into this interview, I want to thank our sponsor, Zenni Eyewear. You know, summer coming, it's a great time for sunglasses. And at Zenni.com, you can design your own. You can do prescription frames too, and you can see how you look before you buy with Zenni's mirror feature. And you can do it all for less than the price of a vinyl record. You really can't beat that. Go to Zenni.com today and choose yours. Here's Otis Williams with a story of My Girl. You guys had a huge hit with the way you do the things you do.
The way you do the things you do, the way you do, oh baby.
You really needed a game changer.
Yeah.
This song, it's an American standard.
It is.
It is a standard of the American canon.
We were appearing at the 20 Grand because we had a few hits, that led us where we started working. And Smokey came after we finished performing, and he was saying, "Boy, you guys are something else. You're fantastic." And he was just singing our accolades. But then he paused, and 5 of us standing up against the wall listening to Smokey. He looked over at David. He said, "I got a song for you." So we said, "Well, hey man, bring it on. We can sing anything." So he said, "Okay." The Miracles and the Temptations had to work the Apollo together. So in between the shows at the Apollo, Smokey and Ronnie White who also was one of the writers of My Girl, they were teaching us how the song would go, you know, and I've seen some pictures whereas we in the dressing room and, you know, he playing the tape. So however, we learned the song and we went back to Detroit. And like I said, at first it was just basic song, boom, 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 and then we put the vocals on. But when Paul Reiser added the strings and horn, it gave it a whole nother daylight, aside from the song being a great song to begin with. But when Paul Reiser added the strings and horns, and then you could hear Jum ba doo dee doo 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 doo. I'm sitting there, I said, ooh, this is gonna be a big record. So Smokey was in the control room and, you know, he's doing the producing, mastering, mixing and balance. And I said, Smokey, I don't know how big a record this is gonna become. I said, but this is gonna be a big record. And Smokey, even back then, okay. They released the record. My Girl was released. We were at the Fox Theater December the 26th or the 27th. It was near the end of the calendar year. February of 1965, we were at the Apollo, and Berry Gordy, the Supreme, the Beatles, and the boss man of the Copacabana, they all sent us telegrams congratulating us that we were number one with My Girl. You know, we made one mistake. So one day, Paul was in charge of the repertoire rundown of what we would do on stage. We went out on stage and we performed everything except My Girl. We will never, ever take that song out the lineup. The audience almost called us every name except the child of God. See, that is something you don't mess with.
I understand, though, that, Eddie had sang lead on most of your stuff up to that point. But Smokey saw something in David Ruffin.
Oh, yeah. Maurice King at the time was our vocal coach, and he would have put certain medleys together. So we were doing something to kind of step out of character of just being known for the R&B thing. And so when David did Under the Boardwalk, I guess he was meaning Smokey was very impressed. David Ruffin was a singing, performing young man. You know, and he would grab the mic and he would dip and, you know, make it sweat. You know, because all five of us at the time were taking turns and leading.
Right, singing, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But he heard something in David's voice and his delivery, you know. So David was a special talent, you know. I love him, you know. The brother, you know, and once he would drop to his knees and come up with the microphone and we'd be singing My Girl, whoever was on the show, forget it.
This is a song that you just hear the dong, 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 dong.
Yeah.
You know exactly what it is. It doesn't matter if it's somebody in Chile or somebody in Asia or here. Everybody knows that song. In fact, I remember Smokey in some interview, he was saying that it doesn't matter. There can be people don't even speak English, but they're singing the parts of the song.
We were over in Gdansk, Poland, and the Iron Curtain was just beginning to come down, you know, for as people being able to move. You know, so as we were singing Papa and My Girl, and now they speak Polish, but they were singing our songs in English. So when we finished doing the show, I said, how do y'all know about Motown and the songs and what have you? You know what they told me? We get you guys music, black market. We heard about the Temps, we had to get that. They would go through the whatever necessary movement to get their music. Shows you that music can do certain things that politicians can't do. Mm-hmm. And I've seen that enough times. Say, yeah, you can get somebody up there, be a great orator and talk about music can be a soothing ointment where it'll settle you down and make you want to listen. Great uniter. Yes, it is. Yep. Yes, it is.
Well, My Girl, like you said, when you guys first heard it, you had to know it was a hit. I always wonder why Smokey didn't keep it for himself. It's so cool that he gave it to you guys. Because I think at the time they had a record that didn't do so well. Right. And he could have kept My Girl for the Miracles, but he gave it to you guys.
Well, you know, I think that when he heard David Ruffin, and then knowing how we would do our harmonies. See, aside from Smokey being an artist, he was a producer first, you know, so I guess his producer here and said, I'm doing this on the Temps, you know, and when we rehearsed it at his house and then at the Apollo, you know, and he said, I didn't bother the Temps as far as voicing their harmonies. I let them do their own voicing of the harmonies. You know, I just wanted to show the structure of the song, the melody, Temps, you know, so the background, he left that up to us.
Because he usually would arrange the vocals.
Yeah, yeah.
And he said, you guys do it.
Yeah, he did.
I did read that he wrote it about his former wife, Claudette Rogers, which I believe Barry said was the first lady of Motown.
She was.
You know?
Yeah.
She was, of course, part of the Miracles, right?
Yeah, she was.
How did you come up with the background vocals? What was kind of the impetus? Was it just natural, came together?
Natural. You know, once a producer would show, now some producers had the idea how they wanted certain parts of the song, you know, especially when it would come to the hook. But everything around aside from the hook, hey, Temps, y'all do your thing. That has always been a strong point for the Temps. You know, we'd hear something and, you know, one of us who would pick up.
Like brothers.
Yeah.
Could just sing together so naturally. Smokey wanted a song for you guys that would hit both #1 on the R&B charts and the pop charts.
Yeah.
And it did just that.
It did.
It was #1 on the R&B charts for like 6 weeks.
Yeah.
8 weeks or something like that.
Man, let me tell you something. I love my girl, but there was a time I said, come on, y'all. You know, Jesus, you know, because everywhere you would go there, you know, you would hear my girl. Even today. I mean, I've been on elevators and I would hear my girl. You know, so it's a song, like you say, it's a standard now.
Well, and it's recharted so many times. I mean, you had Eddie Floyd.
Right.
You had Otis Redding.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, when you heard Otis sing it, that probably was pretty cool.
Oh, it was.
And it's cold outside. I've got
Hall & Oates.
my girl, my girl, my girl, talking about
The Whispers.
I got so much honey, the bees and
Suave. Of course, a resurgence when the Macaulay Culkin film came out, named after My Girl,
Yeah,
right?
My Girl.
My Girl.
Recharted, the original song recharted. It went to #2 in the UK because it wasn't a hit in the UK the first time.
Oh, okay.
It went top 30 or something. It went to #2.
See?
That shows the mark of a great song.
A great song. And when we go to England in October, that's one of the songs that better be in the lineup.
Yeah. Well, performing the Ed Sullivan Show, because you guys had so many appearances on the Ed Sullivan Show. Tell us about the challenge of that, because I think today's generation, they look at the Ed Sullivan Show like it's royalty. That was a show that on Sunday night, everybody watched that. Everybody tuned in. And what are some of your fondest memories of that?
Well, to start off, when we first heard that we were going to go on the Ed Sullivan Show, you talking about 5 brothers that were scared. Reason being, aside from Ed Sullivan being such a powerful show, but when our manager, Shelley Berger, had worked out an agreement for Ed to have us on whenever we'd have a single. And see, Ed Sullivan Show would scare you to death because that was live. Now, they would do a safety in the event that something catastrophic would happen. But the actual showing of Ed Sullivan, you better have your note. You better know your steps, because it's not one of those, all right, somebody in the Temps messed up. We got to do it again. No, ain't none of that. You know, you got to do it right the first and only time that you are on there.
what can make me feel this way? It's my girl.
But Detroit would shut down whenever they knew that a Motown act was on Ed Sullivan. Yeah, it was that powerful, that kind of, what? The Temps, the Supremes, the Four Tops, whomever, Ed Sullivan.
My girl, talking about my girl.
Yeah, so, and he had us on there a lot of different times.
Temptation.
That's what I say.
Yeah, My Girl, when that was a hit, you guys were on there, and that was a great performance.
Yeah.
It's cold outside. I've got the month of May.
Every time, we would go on, and then we kind of stepped out of character. There are times when we did something that wasn't Temptation or wasn't Motown, just to let them know that we could do other songs, rather than what we are known for.
That performance of My Girl is on a lot of the greatest hits of Ed Sullivan.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when like the 20 greatest performances, they always include that one. Of course, the Beatles and everything.
Oh, yeah.
That's so cool that the Beatles sent you a telegram and the Supremes.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I say it all the time, greatest decade in the history of the world is 60s for music.
Yeah,
I mean,
absolutely. Absolutely.
You'll never see another decade like that.
No, because I listen to the songs of today, I'm not impressed. I mean, and it's very reflective of where we are as a people. I never will forget when we had to do the way you do the things you do. We had to do it phonetically because we couldn't sing it, and it was German and Italian. So Miss Edwards said, "Now, Temps, you got to do this right, no cussing." So we said, no cussing. We never would cuss on anything that we do. That was 1964, 65. I listen at the stuff that's on the radio today, and like I'll say it over and over again, the FCC must have really relaxed their laws because they're cussing. They're saying stuff and say, "Oh, you got to pick it." No, they didn't say that. But it's reflective where we are as a people today, all because of this.
Yep, and it doesn't last. That's the problem with these songs. My Girl, we've used that as an example that almost 60 years later, people still sing. Hundreds of years from now, people will still sing My Girl. I don't know that that'll happen with the music that's in the top 40 today.
No. Yeah.
And that's a legacy of those songs. Leave us a comment about the Temptations' classic Motown hit, My Girl. What are your memories of this song? You can also get the Temptations' new album by clicking on the link below. We'll also put it as a pinned comment. If you like our content, we do invite you to subscribe below. And don't forget to check out our new merch and our Patreon. We've got a new show there. Until next time, 3 chords and the truth, my friends.